right, so I did not start out well this morning. Thank you for letting me know there's no sound, Craig. I had myself muted, which was really, really clever. Welcome to the live chat. Today, I'm going to be talking about updates for YouTube and other video platforms. There's updates for AdSense, for Clubhouse. There's a warning for Twitch streamers to keep your account secure. There's a lot of information. So welcome to Creator Weekly Live for the week ending September 10th, 2023. Apologies for the audio issue. Obviously, I'm not fully there this morning. All right, to get started, first of all, if you are an AdSense publisher, you may have received an email this week saying something about the GDPR messaging. I know it can be kind of confusing, but the bottom line is that you need to add GDPR messaging to your websites to be able to show ads to people in the European Economic Area and the UK starting in January. So if you have not set that up yet, when you sign in to your AdSense account, you may see a pop-up like this. It says, create a GDPR consent message by January 16th, 2024. And it gives you three options. You can either use a Google certified content consent management platform. You can use the consent management platform offered by AdSense, or you can choose not to use any at all, no GDPR message, with the note that you understand that AdSense ads will stop showing in the EEA, that's the European Economic Area, and UK on your site starting January 16th. So you need to choose one of these options. If you choose to create a GDPR message using Google's CMP in AdSense, it will take you to those settings in your AdSense account, and you can just walk through it. It feels a little tricky to do. And if you don't do it by January 16th, but you have chosen the option to create a GDPR message in AdSense, Google will just add one for you that you can edit. So if you are an AdSense publisher, be sure to sign into your account. Like I said, if you choose the option to use Google's consent management platform, it will walk you through it. You do need to have a page with a privacy policy on your website before you can do that, which you should be doing if you have AdSense ads anyway. So that is the first thing you need to do if you are an AdSense publisher. Google will take care of the rest. So basically you set this up, they will show this consent message to people who are in the areas that need to see the consent message. You don't need to do anything else. You will also see stats about how many times the consent message was shown and what percentage of people agreed to it. So you can get an idea of how well that's working. All right, so one of the big updates this week was an update to monetization on YouTube, where they are going to simplify the ad controls. Now, whether you consider this a good thing or not depends on how you manage your ads. But the bottom line is, if you are a YouTube partner, you have the choice to turn ads on or off on each video. Currently, if you turn ads on, you can choose whether you have a pre-roll, a post-roll, whether those are skippable or non-skippable. Now it's just an option of on or off, or it's not happening right at this moment. It will go into effect in a month or so. But the change is that if you turn ads on, YouTube will decide which of those to show. So you won't be able to choose between skippable and non-skippable ads. As a viewer, that may mean that you see more non-skippable ads, although YouTube says something like 90% of partners have all these turned on anyway, so maybe you won't notice. The other change is more controls for mid-roll ads. Now, mid-roll ads are the ads that are inserted during the video. If you're watching a recording of this live stream, you will probably see some mid-roll ads because I have that enabled. And right now, there is the option to either insert the mid-roll ads yourself or have YouTube insert them. Going forward, there's going to be an option to have a mixture of both. I'm showing you the announcement. You can get a link to that again in my weekly roundup. There's a lot of details there. If you have live streams and you insert ads during the live stream, there are going to be more controls for that. Also, where you can go into live control room and choose to skip an upcoming ad. You'll see a notice, oh, an ad's going to start showing in 60 seconds. You can delay that, you can skip that. And so there's going to be more controls for mid-roll ads, but pre-rolls and post-roll ads, they're either on or off. So you won't be able to control whether the ads are skippable or not. So that was a big update to YouTube this week. The other update I wanted to share is about looking at clips. Now, you may not realize this, but you can go to any video that has clips enabled and basically say a particular stretch of a video is a clip, and you give it a title, and then you can share that. So you can share like a 60-second segment of a video. Up until now, that hasn't been a great way to actually see if people are doing that. This is a screenshot. It's from the Creator Insider video that has a lot more details. But basically, if you go into YouTube Studio on desktop, open the details for a particular video, there's a new clips option on the left menu that will let you see all the clips people have created from that video, which channels did it, how many views there are, what they called it. It should be really interesting for creators who have fans that make a lot of clips. Of course, you can also see if someone made a clip and labeled it, "This is the stupidest thing somebody ever said," which won't be great, but at least you'll know. So just going to the chat, welcome. Going back a step, Andrew says you have to have a privacy statement to add the GDPR messaging. That is correct. So you should do that first before you try to add any messaging. And AdSense does require that you have a privacy policy anyway. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is one more update to YouTube. This is one I actually don't know a lot about, but the CEO of YouTube, Neil Mohan, said if you use YouTube Music, you can now read, create, and engage with comments on songs, videos, and podcast episodes right on the YouTube Music mobile app. So that makes it a little bit more like watching things or listening to things in the main YouTube app. People can comment on those videos or audio. I mean, the audio is really a video without any moving images, but I don't know exactly how that will look in your YouTube analytics. If you're a creator, I am guessing those show up with your other video comments, but we'll see about that. Now, I wanted to make a brief note for Twitch streamers. And Zach Busey, who reports on a lot of Twitch news, has been sharing this information on X Twitter. There is a bad extension. If streamers have it installed, basically it starts posting a bunch of bad comments as them, which is not good. It kind of hijacks the account. The extension is called Pando. It also seems to be caused by an extension called Stream Alerts TV by the same developer. You should really secure your account, remove access from any third-party extensions or services that you don't need. Even if you think you might need it in the future, you can always add them back. Disconnect these extensions, uninstall them, reset your password for Twitch if you need to. So those are the main video creator updates for this week. Now I'm going to shift gears just a little bit. If you remember, way back in 2020 and 2021, audio platforms were all the rage. If you're on X Twitter, that's like Spaces, but the sort of darling startup was Clubhouse. Clubhouse had these audio rooms and people could be a panel. It's less sort of a personal discussion, more like a lot of things like webinars and people talking about things they're interested in. This worked okay during the pandemic when a lot of people were mostly just online. But the problem with any exclusively live platform is that people open up the app, and unless there is something live happening at the time they open it, they're just going to close the app and leave. So that is not a great experience. That whole issue with trying to improve discovery and make sure people have something interesting when they open the platform is an issue with all live platforms. I think Twitch has been working on how to improve discovery there. So it's a general issue. Clubhouse, notably though, has seen a big precipitous drop in usage since 2021. And while at one point, Facebook and a bunch of other platforms integrated similar live audio, most of those have kind of been walked back. It's not that trendy anymore, except for Spaces. So they announced this week the new Clubhouse. What is the new Clubhouse? The new Clubhouse is chat groups. So you go into Clubhouse, you have friends there. So they're changing from a model where you follow people to a friends model. Then in these live chats, it's asynchronous. But the twist for Clubhouse is that people leave audio messages instead of text messages. So that's supposed to be the draw, that even if there's nothing live happening when you sign into the app, you can go into the chat and respond to people and so forth. If you're a creator on Clubhouse, you can try and keep your followers by creating a house. Now, I am not a Clubhouse user, so I don't know the nitty-gritty details of how this works, but you can create a house. You can have live rooms and the chat in your house. So you can still manage your followers there, except they're not going to be followers anymore. They will be friends. So this is obviously a massive, massive change for Clubhouse. It will be interesting to see if this is actually successful or Clubhouse goes away. That's probably the alternative if this is not working. Sometimes the pivot to messaging works, sometimes it does not. Also, when you're talking about chat, it seems like that is the feature that platforms are trying to use to make them sticky. So give people a reason to be there. You can see an update on Patreon where they want creators to build community on Patreon with posting and comments, and now there is a chat space as well. I think it's a really interesting move. And will it keep people on the platform while they're maybe disillusioned with other social media? That remains to be seen. So this is all part of what really seems to be the greater fragmentation of the internet. For a while, it was like everyone's on Twitter, everyone's on Facebook. You can kind of go to those places and be sure to engage with most people who are online. But with lots of changes, we're seeing more social platforms and more platforms that weren't really social before adding these social features. So it kind of fragments people's audience in a lot of places. And I think that's going to be tough for creators who use these platforms with their communities. I think they're going to have to pick and choose where they are, because you can't really be engaged and active on every social media platform. You can try, but there's only so many hours in the day. All right, so those are the big updates I wanted to talk about. There's a couple smaller updates. If you are, if you have a website that is not in English, Google search will now show site names in all languages. You may have noticed in search, if you do a search, you will see a link, and above that, the name of the website. Originally, that was only in English. Now it's in all languages. And another quick update to WordPress, where they have created a plugin that makes it much, much easier to migrate your website from another platform to WordPress. I just wanted to show the graphic. They are allowing imports from all the major platforms. And I thought it was particularly interesting that you can import from Substack. Substack promotes itself as a newsletter platform, but you also have individual web pages for your newsletters that can have comments. It's very blog-like. So if you want to move from a different WordPress, from Blogger, Medium, Squarespace, Substack, Wix, and I believe there's some other options as well, WordPress.com is making that really easy for you to do. All right. Want to say again, welcome. I haven't said hello to Eileen and Andrew and Craig. Great to see you here live. I'd love to hear what you think about this week's updates. Andrew says, the entire social scene is undergoing what I call splinterification. I think I said that right. I think that's true. I think maybe it's a natural process. It may not have been really a logical thing for all people to kind of be in one place. You see a lot of conflicts that way. And I think people maybe are happier in more private forums, although it's not forums anymore, it's Discord and other social platforms. Lane says, regarding the WordPress.com migration tool, I saw that, but when I clicked on the graphic to move from Blogger to WordPress, nothing happened. Maybe it's still rolling out. I'm not sure. I don't know how it works. I haven't actually tried it, but I think WordPress does have support. So I'd be interested to hear if you get that working. The last little tidbit I wanted to share is something that I'm happy about. If you have a Google Workspace Individual account, there are now more features. These features, I think, maybe are not all immediately available, but they should be soon. Let me just call up the list here. Google Workspace Individual is an add-on to your personal Google account that lets you have access to advanced features in Google Meet video meetings, in Google Calendar, where you can have appointment booking, in Gmail with special formats and mail merge, and Google Docs. They have e-signature options. So this is, I think it is about $100 for a year. If you use these features, it's really well worth it. For Google Meet, what they are adding is an increase in the participant limit of meetings that you host from 100 to 150. You can assign co-hosts, which I think is really a big deal, especially you have a meeting with 150 people, you assign a co-host who can manage things while you're presenting or talking. You can record meeting transcripts in addition to recording or live streaming to YouTube. You can have Q&As. That's just their Q&A interface, which makes it easy for people to ask questions. And you'll see a guest list inside the meeting. When you do that, what you will see is the guest list from your Google Calendar event, and you'll see if people RSVP'd and if they're in the meeting. So that is a big update. Those are the updates for this week. Apologies that the beginning of this video doesn't have audio because I forgot to unmute myself. Eileen says, I have a few Blogger blogs. I might move over to WordPress. So if I get it working, I'll let you know. Yeah, I'll be interested in hearing how that works. I assume you have to do something. I don't know if you have to export your Blogger blog first and import it, or if it just lets you interface with your account and import it directly. Usually the big issue is the images, which may not always import. I know when you make an export of your Blogger blog that's easily importable elsewhere, it actually does not include the images. It just links to the images, which is fine as long as you don't delete them from your Google account. But it'd be great if it imported images as well. So those are all the updates for this week. Thank you so much for joining me live. I'll be back here next Sunday, same time, same place.